evening, everybody. Welcome to the Recreation Advisory Board meeting, February 15th, 2024. The time is 5:35. Tuned in on the station at 5:30. Apologize for the delay. Right, with that, I'd like to go ahead and call to order our meeting. See, we have a quorum today, so good job, everybody. Okay, on to the next, approval of the agenda. How's it look? Does anybody have any thoughts or last minute things they'd like to add?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Excellent.
Second.
Thank you. Just bear with me 1 second, please. Okay, with that, has everybody has read the June minutes? It's kind of been a long time coming, but no better time than the present. So I have them there. If anybody would like to have any comments or make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Right. All right, moving on to new business and community member insights. We have a few things this month. First of all, on the docket, city pool lap swim / aquatic center closure, parentheses, summer 2024. This was brought to my attention by Megan and as another person as well, from a different aspect, but we just wanted to bring this to probably got your ear to the ground and maybe already felt the vibrations of this coming. But with the aquatic center being closed, there's going to be a need for the swim clubs that practice, as well as the lab swimmers. So just kind of some thoughts. Megan, did you have anything to add to that?
Basically just that even though the aquatic center usually has limited hours, it still picked up some of like the overflow for lap swim. I did have a question actually after I had sent this out to you about the community center pool possibly getting like equipment for the folks who do like aqua aerobics, like the floaty barbells or the floaty belt, like things that the OU Aquatic Center has for folks to check out to do that, and if there was maybe any interest in doing that.
We have those things.
Oh, okay.
But
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
This
no.
person apparently did not either.
no,
So.
but that I can't say that we have that information out. But now that I reflect on like using a YMCA pool, yeah, you can just get some of those items if you wanted to be in the lap pool. But I don't know if they don't get used. I mean, they're like brand new looking from like the very beginning of the pool. So is that a suggestion of having it out for lap swimmers so that they can
'cause
use it?
I know there are a couple of folks
Yeah.
who use the belt and they go to like where they can't touch and they aqua jog. So that would be like somebody who would want to come in and use the diving well
Okay.
when they would normally go and use the deeper water like,
Yeah.
at the aquatic
Yeah.
center.
Because I think the only thing that I think is commonly used are any kind of like paddle boards that we have. But yeah, we have dumbbells, belts. Yeah, cool. Okay, great. That'd be a good way to use them.
Is the aquatic center going to be closed for the whole summer, or is it for maintenance, I'm assuming?
It's for some mechanical maintenance is what I have been told, and the goal is to stay open through like Memorial Day, basically. So even after the students leave, staying open through May, and then being closed until probably the students get back in
Right,
August.
right.
So the kind of, as soon as you all open, like that's probably closed. I haven't gotten like a definitive dates, times kind of thing yet, but that seems to be the consensus, is that that'll be off grid for the summer.
Yeah, so I work with Bobcat Swim Club, and we just met earlier this week, and Mason, one of the coaches for the swim team, he said, I'm trying to look at my notes, June 15th would be is the kind of the operating date that they're operating off of, not having access after that. But yeah, we Bobcat Swim Club uses our facility 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Monday through Friday, and we did speak with the OU Mason from OU Aquatics Swim Club, swim team, athletics. There we go, OU Athletics swim team, about if there was any way possible to get some additional hours. And that's something that I'm trying to work through, but it's not very feasible on our end to increase the number of hours that we are staffed. That makes sense. But I am trying to work through that to see what might be possible. But we're sticking with our lap swim 10 to noon, Monday through Saturday, 7 to 8. Monday through Friday, definitely Monday through Friday, and now I'm trying to remember. I feel like we did that on Saturday evenings too. Whatever we did last year with lap swim, to also then give time for special events and rentals from 8 to 10 p.m. So
I wonder too, I know it's an item on your update, but if it'd be possible to reach out to some of the students who are currently lifeguarding at the OU place who maybe thought they were going to have work throughout the summer and are now looking.
Yeah, I sure hope that they apply. I do work with Joe Wakely, the aquatics director at the university, because he typically helps us get lifeguard certified. So we'll fill up those classes in the spring, and sometimes he'll put on an additional one for us. I know right now there's a really big meet or something happening, is what Mason was explaining, coming up. So I haven't had a response yet, but I know that it sounds like probably closer to spring break they will be able to get their heads above water and start planning that transition of hoping to get some of their staff so that they have work over the summer.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
So there's no possibility of like 7 a.m. to 10 or 8 a.m. lap swim a couple days a week?
So I'm trying to figure out the feasibility of that. There's a lot that goes into, the money that we have to pay our staff, and that we have to have ready in our budget for the year to pay staff, but also the wellness of our staff throughout the entire season so that we stay open, which is really important. We learned that the hard way several years ago. So we're not going to repeat past mistakes. And so I kind of hold my boundaries pretty firm whenever I'm asking staff to be there working already from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day. So, yeah. So for example, opening up at 8 a.m. to Bobcat Swim, we have staff come in at 7 a.m. to start opening our pool. It takes a long time to change out the filter baskets and check the balance of the water to make sure that the water is okay to get into and safe. And then, of course, if there are any hiccups that happened with our systems over the night, storms like electrical storms, cause one of our computers to freeze up, or something goes into alarm, then it doesn't feed appropriately overnight, or early in the morning. And so there's always some troubleshooting time factored into opening up the pool. So if we increase our hours in the morning time, then we're asking staff to come in at 5 a.m. So then are they waking up at 4 a.m. to get to work at 5 a.m.? Where's safety? Where's the health and wellness of our team? So
Kudos to you for setting that boundary. Is it fair to
not hard.
assume
It
that,
is hard.
that the university will provide some sort of financial support if you're accommodating them, right, for the summer?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
good,
that's
good,
my
good, good.
understanding.
Good.
Yeah, definitely. But the way our finances work is unless if I got a check for $50,000 today that said, here, I want, this to happen and this amount will cover it and then some, I would have to go to council to get appropriated to actually use that in this fiscal year.
Okay,
I could keep it and it can help me and build my budget for next year. But so that's kind of also the tricky part.
okay, but hopefully you're getting support this summer if they're relying on the pool.
Yeah, I'm
Good.
sure. Yeah,
Good.
yeah. But those talks are just beginning, so.
Good.
Yeah.
Pool's gonna be busy.
But good to be
Yeah.
busy, yeah.
Yeah, yes it is. Indeed it is.
Okay. Pickleball scheduling. That's on there. That was more, I think, concerning updates or
Yeah,
what
that
was the
was,
status?
that was just a follow-up. You had given me the information via email, and I had shared it with that person. And they were, I don't know if they didn't like my response and we're just touching base again, but I thought I would just ask it again on record that folks had approached me that there was some disconnect between the new scheduling through you and an app that's a scheduler app for pickleball, and there was some conflict, and the patron who approached me just wanted to bring it to our attention that there was something not working, and then so I don't, has it seemed better?
I mean, so the scheduling app that pickleball players use is not ours and it's
Right.
not through us. And so, but it's more of an app to coordinate when they can play and if they have friends and people that they want to play with. And so it's kind of that kind of social scheduling app of when they have availability. And so what we were finding, and I think part of the sudden change was that the tennis center closes over a certain period of weeks in the winter, and so that group of people playing pickleball that typically play over there wanted another place to play, so then they show up. And so what happened was that people who were pretty much used to coming to the community center and having access to a court at a certain time, because of the way they schedule with each other on their own app, then there was user conflict because other people showed up to play. And there wasn't up until that point, I didn't have any sort of rules listed as to what happens whenever the courts are full. How do you rotate out? And there are plenty of pickleball facilities that have these rotate out guidelines to help people whenever all the courts are full and to make sure that people are getting kind of fair opportunities to play. So I instituted that, and then I also opened up one court out of our 7 that we have. We have 3 indoor and 4 outdoor. The 3 indoor you have to pay to get into the facility, and the 4 outside are free, but I opened up one court to be available for reservations. So not reservation only, but that if a day ahead of time, if you wanted to make sure that whenever you showed up that you had a court to play on, then you could make a reservation through us. And we would put the sign up to let all of the pickleball community know, and they could always call and ask, and people have been calling in the mornings just to check to see, like, do you have a reservation today, just to make sure. We've had people reserve the courts. It wasn't, we weren't expecting it to be any sort of like, it's going to be reserved all of the time, but we were trying to help out with some of the folks families who are trying to come and they aren't a part of the pickleball community yet. They're not using that app yet. They want to make sure that they have a court to play, or any groups of friends, and those people who needed that have used that. So, yeah.
Great.
Is there a timing restriction of sorts, so I can't just call in and say, I want it every Tuesday from 5 to 7?
You could if it was within the time that we have our pickleball court set up. So we do have, since we have so many uses of the courts, volleyball, futsal, pickleball, basketball, those are our main groups right now using it. And then of course we'll have like special events like archery happens or roller derby or something like that takes on the court. So we do have Erin, she works on our monthly gym schedule, and each kind of group that we work closely with, pickleball, volleyball, futsal, basketball groups, Erin has contact information for people who are kind of like not official, you know, they're not official clubs or anything like that, but they've kind of identified themselves as like, I will make sure that I'll pass this along to the people that I know. We post it in the community center, and then we also post it on our website every month of what that schedule will look like. So it's generally the same. Right now with basketball happening, there's less pickleball time, but then it'll open back up whenever our basketball program ends in a few weeks. But so there's just designated times where it's pickleball only in the back.
So is the one that's reserved not one of the outdoor courts? It's one
Correct.
that's inside?
It's one inside. Yeah, we're not doing reservations for any of our outdoor courts.
Okay, so that
Yeah.
is basically first come, first served for. Okay.
And they all are. But now there's some signs up to try to help people with rotation. And someone they reached out to ask if they could make a paddle holder system, which helps communicate to people when the courts are full, you know, our group is next. And so, so they made it. It's beautiful. They handmade it and they donated it to us. And so now we have that too. It's on wheels too. And it's like, I mean, it's a great height. So that has helped with that kind of keeping order. I mean, you know, we're learning as we go on this sport and the different changes, and then of course, just like with the pool, like whenever something at the university goes away, that's a service that people are used to, and if we have that service, then they come to us. So just trying to figure out how to manage that.
So out of curiosity, like, what if there is a confrontation? Like, how does that typically get handled? Are people going to social media and bad-mouthing Parks and Rec, or are they?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry.
Also emails. Also, our front desk staff get a lot of. They're like the front line, and they get fussed at a lot for things that aren't necessarily. They are upholding the rules of the facility. They're doing their best to try to, make sure and de-escalate any kind of situations. I've had people get in my face and point at me and yell at me in the gym, specifically telling them. I've had people record me while I am telling them the rules of the gym. So people get a little aggressive, and if it escalates to the point where they're verbally abusive, I tell them to leave, and we have done that on a few occasions. Not one particular group in particular, but just people that come into the community center and different members. I've revoked memberships and had them trespassed. And
Thanks for all that you do.
you're welcome. Thank our front desk staff too, and our fitness staff.
All right. Thank you.
Just come hang out with us a day.
I had my incident at the skate park in the summer.
You'll see. Yeah. I mean, it's everybody is carrying something, and
This place.
we see a lot of it. So
Okay, next on the agenda, just some concerns over illegal camping in city parks, or what appears to be that. Not necessarily something new per se. 'Cause I've noticed that before, not consistently, but periodically. So.
is there something that happened recently? Are we talking about people who are unhoused, or are we talking about like recreational camping?
I think.
Do we know?
I think it was people who were unhoused. It was brought up at the West Side Community Association meeting last month. Kind of vague. A lot of feelings around going to a place, and I think what it seemed like is that if there had still been people, quote unquote, trespassing, that they would have been clear to call law enforcement because they were doing something. But what happens when like a mess has been made and left, and then so who is responsible like,
Oh.
for cleaning up? Again, this is all kind of secondhand, but that there has been like human excrement or like a lot of trash left, and so is that called
yeah,
guys?
unfortunately for us, yes, it's if it's in our parks, you let us know and we clean it up.
Okay. That was the concern, and then I could, beyond that, how do you keep it from happening, and where patrols or
Yeah,
monitors? Like,
yeah.
do you have folks who like
I mean,
pull through
so
and-
some of the sometimes I'll use maybe a more clear example than isn't necessarily applicable everywhere, but sometimes people will break into our restrooms whenever they're closed during the off season, and they'll sleep there. And so we will have to call law enforcement, and they come, and there's usually some effort to connect them with integrated services, but also you can't be in here because you have broken into a facility, and there's normally a lot of trash and excrement because our water's turned off, and then our crew comes in and cleans it up and tries to shore up wherever they broke in. So I mean, it's kind of depending on if somebody feels unsafe, then they could always call law enforcement if somebody's feeling unsafe. But if something has been abandoned, then we clean it up if we know about it. Yeah.
that was my sort of off the cuff response was to
Yeah.
just reach out to you, like if you stumble upon what seems to be a temporary campsite place somewhere where they're not supposed to be camping, then just to if it's on a public park, then to reach out to you all. So okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good plan. So, if you see anything going on in the parks, let us know. That's okay. Thank you for that. Topics. Everybody sees what's next on the agenda.
Yeah.
You get one.
The elephant in the room.
Yeah, so for 2024, we need chair, vice chair, and a secretary filled. I guess we probably could have done the latter two earlier since we haven't had a vice chair and secretary. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. Chair will be running the show and creating the agenda. The vice chair covers when the chair cannot or could be delegated to create the agenda if you so wish. And secretary, that's kind of a tough one because you gotta be fast with the fingers or one way or another. That's why we're on June agenda.
Dave, we're gonna miss you. We're gonna miss you so much.
Maybe sometime I'll come and sit in the crowd.
Yeah.
Make
Show
a
up.
complaint.
Yes, you can
bring
be share your insights.
Yeah, okay.
Heckle from the balcony seat.
Well, I think I mentioned before, just for the transition though, in seriousness, if anybody needs any help, I don't mind, getting you. Or you can change it up and make it your own, so that would be cool too. I think it's good to always adapt and evolve, yeah. Anybody have any thoughts? Want to throw your hat in the ring, as they say?
Maybe make it a rotation. So someone can chair just as a rotation kind of thing. But then you kind of lose that
Like on a
leadership
yearly
position. But
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess technically it is on a rotation in that it'd be for a year
right.
and then not, I think it bylaws, and I haven't been
I'd be glad to help out kind of from the secretary position, but, so I'd be glad to help out from there if I can.
Okay. I think that sounds excellent. One thing everybody keep in mind, there's 4 of you. You guys are a team, so like if it was me and I couldn't do something, don't hesitate to lean on your teammates. That's what we're here for. But great.
With the 3 vacancies that there are presently, are there like names on that list already that are kind of already, I guess, being reviewed, or what's the status of that?
We haven't submitted. Or
No, I
posted
didn't
that.
have. I haven't posted
So
it.
we
Yeah,
don't
so
have
I
any
I
names.
just sent it
But
today to you all to review. My apology.
I have a thought or two on that, and that's a good question. So when we went through that process, there are people that we could contact, but I've also made mention to the mayor that there's vacancies, because as I thought about it in the past, in our system of going through questionnaire and trying to gauge people's interests, it's resulted in kind of a so-so outcome. I'd say you guys are great, and everybody who's been here is great, but I understand it's hard to make every third Thursday meeting and make it like into your schedule. And it's hard for me. It took, when I became in this position, obviously I had to, but really ultimately what made me make sure to be here is that I would see other people not be here. And that's really kind of the glaring thing. And you need to have a certain number per year, and you got to get things done occasionally. So having a quorum is, so it'd be good to get some people onto the board soon. And that's why I had mentioned that, just because that's how I got onto the board, was the mayor asked me, and so I agreed. And here I am. He's asked other people, and they've done it for a year, or maybe more, and that's great. It's a voluntary thing. It takes time and thought, but the benefits are you get to be involved in the community. Because I will not lie, I don't watch the city council meetings, and I don't know what's going on in those realms. I don't know that, but I am in touch with the city and the county through this, so I think that's been rewarding. So
If I understood the bylaws correctly, if we know we're gonna have to miss a couple meetings, we shouldn't run for a position, right? Or could that be? Could an exception be made, given the short amount of people?
Yeah, I
that-
think in this case, one, there's the meetings that you should attend for the year.
Yeah,
And if you miss more, then you could be like thrown off, technically. Not that we
Yeah.
have done that, but what I would say about that, which you've brought up, is no. And if you wanted to do something, and if you're the chair, lean on the vice chair occasionally, because it is kind of a lot to just kind of run everything. Although it's not. I can do it. You can too. Martin Yon. Remember Martin Yon? If Yon can cook, so can you. No, okay.
I don't know at all that reference.
That was
You might be too
WOUB.
young.
Okay.
See, we need to get younger people.
That might have been, no, that might be, yeah.
if it'll help us move forward, and if the group is okay, I'm happy to put my name in the hat for vice. But I know I will have to miss a couple meetings.
Excellent. That's
Does that mean we are?
We will have to-
chair?
We'll have to vote. But yeah.
Yes.
Well, I will let you win. We don't even have to make the effort.
I guess I will be happy to self-nominate for chair also by dint of somehow I'm now, after Daniel leaves, have been on the board the longest somehow.
Oh,
Accidentally.
nice.
I was January was my first meeting last year. So, sure. And I will probably obnoxiously take you up on the lean on you for help that you have at least initially going in. And Annie, that seems like a good fit too, knowing that you're gonna, like you have.
But Anne, if you want in, by all means,
I will
you
be
are welcome.
like second runner up to your vice. It'll be
I'm giving you the choice.
third.
You will sub in to anybody when in their absence.
And
I know that
we
it's,
can rotate.
it might be
We do have
pushing
to vote,
the,
right?
Teams need a bench warmer. We'll be okay.
but it might be something too, just to let folks know as we are recruiting or putting that survey out there, or actually just literally asking people, please come and be on this, that it is just a year. And so there's a, depending on when they decide they want to come be on the board, there's a chance pretty quickly that they could move into a exec position or a leadership position. And then, you know, or even to, I guess, operate as like interim vice chair while Annie's out or something like that. And that might be an enticement for people to want to come and would kind of go pretty quickly into, you know, having a role, a more intense role. So
Sounds great.
okay.
Thank you.
Last call, Anne LaRue.
Bench.
We still had a vote.
I was hoping you were going to do
Well,
paper,
I'm
rock,
gone a
scissors.
lot in the fall, so that would be bad. That would be bad.
Okay. Well, with that, then I would say
It's gonna be a tough
we will
vote?
We, will, yeah, we're gonna have to, we need to make a motion to vote, and when we do, it will be for Megan for chair, Annie for vice chair, Stuart for secretary.
I'd like to nominate, or is it nominate, or we vote?
Make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that, do you want to do all three or individually?
All three.
All three. That we do the following: Megan for chair, Annie for vice chair, Stuart for secretary, for the following year.
I'll second
I
that.
see.
I
You're
will,
gonna
I
have
will
to
say, I will
Yeah,
second, I second it.
I didn't know if you could second anymore.
It'll be
I
his
think
last.
I-
Oh, you're last.
official-
You're
In
last.
that case, I'm the only one not on the list.
So,
We are, so,
It was.
okay.
all
All
right.
right, let me type this up.
Check.
5 minutes here.
Great. Thank you all. And yes, definitely take me up on any help. And I can also help with the next thing on our agenda, the actions for board member recruitment, which we've just briefly touched on already, the 3 vacancies, but we can go beat on some bushes and see if I can find some people or
The survey as you sent it out looked good. I would,
Are we allowed to share that ourselves?
Yeah, if you're good with it, that was
yeah, I didn't think that it needed.
and
to
it'll
be
just come
updates.
to my
And we can
my
send it
Gmail,
out
and then-
publicly to groups that we know of, or even individually. That's okay to do.
yeah.
Okay.
And it's important to note because, and I know that it's in the Google Forms, but because this is something that was changed last year, is the residency requirement. So we just have to have at least 5 that are Athens City, and 2 could be. I'm messing up the words.
County, right?
But yeah. There's, because there had been like a different structure, and we tried to make it more open. So anyways, the wording's in there. I feel like now I'm gonna mess it up, so I'm not gonna say it.
Well, you had.
But just to
in
make
the
sure.
city, in the county, you had all those.
Yeah, I think in the front matter of the, description of the forms, it kind of states. And I went back and checked the ordinance today to make sure that it reflected what the change in the ordinance was, and I think it
thought
should
it
be
looked
good.
like
The
it.
draft
Okay.
that I, sorry. The draft that I have here that we approved was 7 members appointed. All members of the board shall be residents of the county.
And the wording on the link you sent says, and at all times, no less than 5 must reside within the city.
That was prior to this. So I don't know if
The ordinance I looked at was 23.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the most.
What is,
So this was the most recent, but it hasn't been approved yet.
oh, is that the one that you all have been working on with the, okay, has it gone to council?
I don't know, but it's been passed.
Oh, okay,
The-
well,
the
then
draft has been
I should check.
passed on to-
Normally, whenever an ordinance is passed and it has anything to do with me, Debbie will send it to me, but I will check and see.
And does the new ordinance make allowances for living outside the county? Or just, it's still,
It's still
everyone has to-
just in
the
it,
county.
but I think that's right, it was
it changes city?
loosening a little bit to give more opportunity for people outside.
Okay.
So I'll check and see where that is in the process, because that might still be relevant and it might not be.
But even if we're sharing this link to the Google Docs, it's easy to add a little asterisk in the
Sure.
comments and just say, wherever you live, like apply, it's fine.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, you can select it and we can filter out as needed.
Okay. So I guess that's the best thing to do, is just to start linking that to, and or reaching out to individuals and sending them that link. Because this, filling out the Google Docs is like basically the way to apply, correct? Like even if we're
Yes.
expressly asking someone to apply, okay.
And then when somebody applies, you get all of the information, and then would you maybe beginning next month send them to Megan as the chair, or how does that work?
I can send them along as I get them.
Cool, thank you.
Or one of you can own the document in Google Forms. So I don't
What
even
would
have
you
to see
prefer?
it. Be great if one of y'all could take that. And then we can either you just like add somebody as an owner or something to it.
I'm not sure what the vice chair does, so I'm happy to do that. Right? What does the vice chair do?
Collects names for vacancies.
Google Docs. So
Right?
Do you have a Gmail account?
Annie at copperheadbaseball.com.
Okay,
It's
that
hooked
one.
to- yeah,
Okay.
It's hooked to Google Drive.
Okay. And then I can just transfer that ownership to you, however that happens in that world. And then I have no need to keep up with this.
And then I would just bring the names to our next meeting, or give everybody a heads up ahead of our meeting. Here are the people. Okay,
I'd say, yeah, if we get
the latter. Yeah.
names before, it'd be nice to just kind of have an email
Okay.
chain and
Great.
discussion.
Yeah.
Wow, the vice chair has a duty.
There you go.
Man, I'm feeling great.
Putting you to work already.
Okay. Right. Anybody else have any thoughts on that? I think we got a pretty good synopsis there and a good path going forward.
Yeah.
Okay. The last thing on the new business, and I think it was a holdover from last meeting, was about adaptive recreational opportunities. I thought we had.
Oh, I think it was that meeting with Rachel.
Oh yeah.
I can-
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, we had a meeting. And it was good. It was a good meeting. Yeah. Oh, here it is. My journals are so handy dandy. Okay, so we had spoken about, Rachel has this vision of a multi-year,
Who's Rachel?
she's an assistant professor or associate professor
Yes.
at the university in physical therapy.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. And through her prior research, she learned, and sorry, Rachel, if I completely botch what I'm saying, but trying to truncate it, that people in this community who participate in different recreational programs, some of them are ours, if they have children with disabilities or even needing advanced support, that the volunteer coach is not enough to keep them all the kids engaged together, and that there's really this need that people have stated, parents and guardians, that they really would like paraprofessionals to be involved with sports teams to really help all of the kids get the most out of, and I say kids because that's what we serve, so I'm sure it could be adults too, but so Rachel has this vision, which we're super excited to work through. You know, she's got the university side of trying to figure out how to get students licensed as paraprofessionals with the state of Ohio. And then if we created a program at the community center, or either a special program, like a specific one, or sprinkle them throughout our existing programs to make them more inclusive, and to be able to integrate all children into participation if we have these paraprofessionals. So there's a lot of other details and nuances that are part of that, but it would be basically in this next year, if she's able to get everything in place, it's getting her side with the paraprofessionals together and that kind of setup with the university, and then we would be implementing them in our programming in 2025. So this is a very quick, short, not all the details, but that's the general idea, I think.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, I think so. And I was telling her I coach our soccer program, and there's been plenty of times where I could have used some additional support. Just because there's a lot of kids and they all come at you from a different place in life.
I just missed this last time, so I'm just going to ask this question. If it has nothing to do with it, just tell me. Were they thinking at all about fully having a full team of otherly abled kids? Like, it would be the full team of that? Because we used to have some teams that did some traveling that were like, is that what they were thinking at all? Or was it just integrating?
I think she said that she was kind of open to that. Like, we haven't quite settled on
It
what
used
the
to be-
actual
I mean, we used to
programs
have
would look
some
like.
Really good teams
But-
that traveled that were mostly located, like their base was out of Beacon School, but they had full basketball teams, and I mean, they were like traveled the state. And I think we've kind of gotten away from that.
Yeah. This one, I think, is more so trying to make sure that
There's
people are getting the
availability.
peer-to-peer, they're getting the social interaction with their peers.
Well, I was
so
just
not
thinking, like, kind of
necessarily-
flipping it, where you would have an otherly able team, and then you would have some peers join them. I mean, there's two ways to
Sure,
kind of look at it,
sure.
but was
I think that's- yeah.
But she's looking at, like, in the rec program, providing peer-to-peer support with paras as support for the coaches, kind of thing.
One of the things that we talked about was coming up with our one specific sports program, and it would be basketball or track and field. That is like this specific one, or having them throughout. And she said if it was maybe more successful, but starting off with like one, that might be a little more specific.
Okay.
So yeah, detail. This is brand new. So our first
Like,
meeting.
when parents find out too that this is something offered, like or like maybe who haven't had it, like enrolled their kids in a program because concerns about them being like not being able to participate fully, but then advertise that, well, no, now we have like 2 or 3 pairs with every team, then you might see an increase, so much so that there would be enough like kid interest and athlete interest to do a whole team on their own.
Out of curiosity, like, you would need to pay the paras, right? So, from a budget
She's looking for
perspective?
grant money.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Okay. And then I was just thinking, because I too coached youth soccer in the fall, and because they were so desperate, I didn't know what I was doing, right? And so we had fun. Our team had fun.
number one.
But it was the 5-year-olds, and you could tell there were different behavioral issues on that team. And the person I was coaching with, we did our best, but I wasn't trained to deal with certain behaviors, and
100%. Yeah.
so I'm just wondering, is it feasible knowing the shortage of coaches in this area? But
I don't know.
yeah, we'll
All
about to
good.
find out.
Yeah. All good questions.
We were
Anybody
safe
can
and
be
we
a
had
coach.
fun, just so you know.
Oh, I have so many funny stories of coaching the little ones.
Yeah.
One time looking around and one kid is literally vomiting on the field. One's like picking their nose. Another one's dug like a crater behind me. And then I'm looking at the other teams and they're all like practicing. And I'm like, what did I do wrong? Felt like a Disney movie with the. But coaching is really fun. Anybody should try it out. You just never know what you're
It was fun.
I am just wondering where, because we are short on coaches and we're short on subs in schools and paras in schools, and I'm wondering where they're going to pull paras to be on teams when we don't have enough coaches. Is there that's going to be tricky. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
that's
know.
very
Yeah, that's Rachel's vision. But we also have unified sports happening. So we had our unified basketball happen in the fall, and we're having unified volleyball happening this spring. And so that is a partnership that we've been working on with Integrate Athens. And I believe the basketball was 16 plus. Volleyball, I don't know the age range, but I believe it might be similar. I think the registration just opened. Or we're announcing it. I've seen it recently. We have a lot going.
It's exciting.
And Senior Center reached out, and they have enough interest to be seeking space again for their chair volleyball. So, yeah, it's exciting. They used to do it pre-COVID, and then COVID happened, and now they're ready to get back at it. So,
Nice.
yeah.
That is a competitive group.
Did they do that at the mall? Did they do that
No,
at the
they
mall?
didn't. Well, I don't know. They did it at the community center before I was director, so I've never seen it in action. But I do know they did it at the community center.
Okay.
So I don't know if they also did it at the mall.
Yeah. Once upon a time.
At the mall?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was
There's been a lot
thinking.
of different. They did it in Albany. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
See, they had a group in Albany too, so
Nice.
we could have leagues.
Let's go for it.
Okay. Looks like we have no continuing business, so we can move past that to the staff report.
All right, so it's me. I know I always drone on and on about how amazing we are. Still on there, the AMAC would like to meet. I'm just leaving that there. That might be something to discuss next time. The Sells Park Muck Bag. We have been successful distributing the organic material for gardenings to the different garden groups, and community members have still been coming to get them. So if anybody's interested in prepping their spring garden, let us know. We'll definitely meet you out there and help load you up. We've been doing that now, kind of like no bag limits, just bring a trailer and we will load you up. But we've also taken the bag out and we've moved the pile, so we're starting to get Sells Park back away from the muck bag. The tennis courts, our fence was installed, so we still need to get signs and concrete path, and there's some drainage work to do on the west side of the courts, but they're ready to play. It's exciting. Department happenings, we have some activities that are coming up. We have Kids Night Out happening on Friday, tomorrow, and camp registration party. So we're having a camp registration party, which is different than the way we've done registration, opening day registration in the past. And it's on Sunday afternoon, March 3rd, from 2 to 5 p.m. at the community center. And parents and guardians can drop their kiddos off with us. We will play with them until they are finished with the registration process. And we're hoping that this will allow parents and guardians who felt like they couldn't make the early time on a weekday morning at opening registration feel like they have an opportunity to register for our camp. So trying to get the word out that we're doing it a little bit differently to help support folks.
Is it on a first come, first served basis, or how does it typically work?
So our before and after care, so the people who are already enrolled in our before and after care, they get a week beforehand to register for camp. And then on opening day, it's that first come, first serve.
How will registration, in the highly unlikely event that there are still spaces after 5 p.m., how will registration, will then it just be open
It's
on
just-
the website then?
Yeah, I mean, it's the normal way that we do it, which is just come in.
Oh, okay.
So this is just that last year was a little, even though we did it the same way that we had done it the prior year and years prior, last year was something happened. I don't know. I don't know if something happened in the community where other camps weren't available or what, but there was a larger influx of people that morning that we opened up registration than people who've been here for 10 years have ever seen. So we kind of needed to reimagine how we did our camp registration to make it a little better. We don't have more spots, so yeah, that's the unfortunate part. But it'll be a party. You can drop your kids off with us. All right, Easter egg hunt. That's March 29th from 12 to 2 p.m. That is a Friday, but that's a Friday that all schools in the county are out. And we did that same date. We tried it last year, Friday, where all schools were out. And we had so many people. so more than we thought. I ran to CVS to go buy more candy because we were running out of candy. So we're excited to do that again. And then we have a community event on April 6th that the National Guard has been working on for us. So more details to come on that one. We're interviewing for the program specialist for child programming and education. So that is a full-time position. Hopefully we will have that filled soon. All right, our programming, we kind of have our regular programming going on. Some things that are going to be a little different at Arts West. For our spring arts classes after school, Adam has decided to have these things called spring art studios. And so there will be a different medium each week, but a little bit more free form where it's not a 5-week class where you're creating something, an end product, so you can more easily drop in or go for the week or pick and choose, or you can go to all of them, and there will be instruction during those days, but just really more about learning the medium, not necessarily creating a piece or something like that. So that will start, registration will start soon, and that starts the week of March 18th. And then he has been working with university students. They are going to put on this thing called Spring Break Sisters for middle school girls, and that will be hosted at Arts West. So the registration for that should be opening up soon as well. But it's more of a university thing, and we're just trying to help them have that space to put on this camp for girls. Our community center spring break camp is registration is still open. There's a few spots left. and spring soccer registration is open. So we are wide open in the registration world for all things spring. We had a concrete path poured to the entrance off of the bike path spur kind of behind the pool for our East State Street Dog Park. Camp Rotan, we had storm damage, and so we're working through insurance on getting that repaired on the cabin. But our crews, in the meantime, they've built some new stairs out at Camp Rotan. I don't know if you've seen them, Daniel, but they're really nice.
I saw them from the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked nice.
Yeah. And then I'm working with a graduate student where we're updating the nature trail walk. So I met with her yesterday, and she's really taken this on, so I'm really excited, and she's going to update the kiosk, and there's a lot of cool stuff, and it'll be happening this spring because this is when she's graduating. So she's been working on it for a while, and we're kind of getting to the point of purchasing materials, so that's exciting.
It is exciting. I've seen
Like the pink
markings.
flags, and
Yeah, and I
yeah.
think I saw her out looking at the kiosk.
Yeah,
I figured
yeah.
that was what.
Yeah. All of our playing surfaces, soccer fields, they're gonna get aerated and seeded in the next week or so. So if you see us out there, we are trying to get ready for the grass to grow, so we can just start mowing it. We're hiring all of our seasonal positions: pool, parks, and camp. So if you want to apply, now is the time because we are filling up. So that's exciting. We're a place that people want to work. Come work with us. But you got to get your application in soon or else you'll miss your chance. All right, so some of these other projects, I don't really have any updates. And then a couple items to note on the upcoming projects that I added in. We're going to replace the weight room floor in the community center. We're still working on getting some different quotes of getting that replaced and which one we should do, but we're going to do that this year. We'll of course purchase our fitness equipment. We kind of have, an annual budget for that we try to protect so that we can keep new fitness equipment in. I forgot to add on, we're also going to close down the back gym, the week of March 18th to repair and replace all of the motors and cables and winches that make our basketball hoops go up, down, sideways, all around. And then that was this year, and then next year we'll have to do that to the front, but we could not support the cost of doing it all,
Will the track stay
all
open?
in 1 year.
Will the track stay open while you're doing this repairs?
Yes, it should. Yeah, it will. Good question. I had to think about that for a moment, and yes, it will. They'll be doing all their work on a lift from below. And then the upstairs offices in the community center are getting a new floor. So it's our 25th anniversary coming up. We're trying to give a little facelift to some of the spaces that have definitely worn over the years. So that is all I have. Sure, I've forgotten some things, but.
Any more updates on the 25-year celebration and thoughts on raising money around it? Anything there? Just still
have
brainstorming,
any.
coming up with stuff?
Yeah, I don't have any updates. I do have a sponsorship, a support letter that I sent out to my staff to try to start getting their feedback. Coming from an academic background, I write very long essays. So I found myself, I was like, this is a way too long of a support letter. I'm going to lose people really quickly. So I'm starting to get some feedback from them, my staff, of just like, what would you like to see us put out to the community? So that's kind of where we are in that.
Cool. Were you here for that meeting where she talked about the 25-year and how it might be able to be used for fundraising?
Oh, yep.
Yeah. 2025, it'll be here before we know it. So we gotta figure out celebrating. Hopefully we'll have pickleball court fence by then.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The only thing that I just want to reiterate about that is the AMAC meeting. So I think be great to get the joint meeting going sometime soon. now that we have things settled.
Would that be in addition to ours, or we like, so if, let's say we do it in April, we would just, that would just be our meeting as well? Okay,
Yeah, you can swap.
so we would just do,
Yeah, so you would, it would be in lieu of the Thursday
Thursday.
meeting.
I think last year we did it at the community center, right?
Yeah, and so we could do that again if we felt like, I don't think there's enough chairs up here.
that was my
Spill
first
over.
Me
That
too.
was a good, yeah, that was a good space for that. All right.
Well, we'll have to get that on the schedule fast because the community center is getting filled up with rentals as well.
is Arts West prepped, or
Arts West is too,
Yeah.
but yeah, Arts West could be a location.
could do?
Yeah.
Speaking of Arts West, is there the new person?
Adam West, yeah, he's been, that's okay. He's been here, I think October, I want to say is whenever he started. Yeah, he's great. He's been a great addition to the team. And he splits his time between the community center and Arts West.
Don't be afraid to mix it up and meet in different places. My very first meeting was at the city pool when it was still being
There you go.
finished, so we got to see the innards and everything, and that was really pretty neat.
Cool.
You could do a meeting in the pool and use the equipment.
Yeah,
the
we sure
float
could.
belts.
Yeah,
Love it,
to
yeah.
another level.
I feel kind of silly that I've never thought about bringing
Before it's
them
built.
out for people to check out, and so thanks for. I guess I can't think of everything, but geez. Guess I'm not the only one that hasn't thought about it. So.
All right. All I got is that this meeting is March 21st. Will be the next meeting. That was the third Thursday. Be there or be square.
First day of spring,
But it,
I think. Yeah.
it's the equinox is always yeah, usually that, but it could be the 20th or 22nd, I think.
Nice.
So this is it. How do you sign off? Well, I guess we have to motion to adjourn first,
Yeah.
but then
You say something like "stay classy."
I motion to adjourn Dan's last meeting. Is that-
Thank you.
You're
Just refuse to second it, so you can.
So should I second it? I'll go ahead and with that, I will second it. Thank you. And don't be afraid to become a board member of the recreation. That's it.